So, some people don't know this necessarily about me, but I am along the same veins as Kristen. I am a scorekeeper. I've done 270 player events, 250 player events. I have score kept now at 3 GPs inside events, so I have a pretty good stand on what Kristen's coming from. Especially, I've also had to deal with a lot of the interactions on both sides of the table. So, judge Scorekeeper Interactions. There's a lot of us. First and foremost, words together. Judges and scorekeepers are a team at events. We need to make sure both sides are doing their part and not making sure we're not stepping on each other's toes. We want to make sure that
Scorekeepers like to yell at judges.
not all the time.
I heard a lot of people found that.
We want to make sure that judges aren't necessarily getting too into your head, or scorekeepers aren't being too demanding of judges. We want to keep that balance. When we work as a team, when we work in sync, the events run smooth. How is a main event scorekeeper's job different than a side/public event scorekeeper's job? Open this to the floor. Yes.
The main event scorekeeper is focused intently on one thing, whereas the side or public event scorekeeper probably is focused on like 60 different things at once that all need their attention simultaneously.
That is accurate. So, main event scorekeepers, again, focus on solely one, albeit huge, main event. A lot of cases there's 2,500, 3,000 players in these main events. There's usually one scorekeeper, and more recently they've been adding a support scorekeeper to keep the number of slips coming in and being input. So the main event scorekeeper tends to fix any problems that might occur during the main event, while the side event, the support scorekeeper tends to do a lot of the paperwork, slip entry. And again, the side event scorekeeper has multiple roles going on at the event. So I might have 1, 2, 5. Houston, I had 9 last chance trials running simultaneously, which was quite a lot on my plate. The good scorekeepers can handle a large number. The lesser ones need a little more work to get to that number. I overloaded myself, but what can you do? Think is the biggest one. Think of a side event scorekeeper's job as triage. So what we're looking for here is, with Word, the slips entry is the easy part. It's just data entry. Anyone can do data entry, as long as you know how to work a keypad and actually make sense of what numbers associate with the results. The juggling multiple events, the potential for multiple problems, is the tricky part. So if I have an event that breaks, that event is now my priority. Your event's ready to launch. Hold on, we have to fix this broke first. So we want to make sure that as we work through, we can actually make sure the events are treated with the appropriate attention. If I have 3 events ready to launch at the same time, or ready to flip rounds at the same time, I look at, for me, which event has the most players out of that. So which one would take the biggest hit if I wait. So if I happen to have event that's 100 players versus an event that's 10, come in, like all last slips come at the same time, I will flip the 100 person one first versus the 10. 100 people waiting an extra 5 minutes versus 10 people waiting an extra 5 minutes is a big difference.
Also, the 100 people, probably their round will take longer than the 10-person round. So
Correct.
Overall time.
For overall time, I want to make sure the larger events launch first. So then the juggling is the tricky part. Again, if I have 9 events open at the same time and they're all single to limb, we don't have to make sure they're all running at the same click or are staggered enough where I don't have that happen. So for judges, when you're judging, you're focused on one event. You may be tempted to think your event is the most important. It's definitely important. However, something else might be going on the floor that may take precedence. Again, another event breaks, or I've got players that say, oh, they were dropped from a tournament accidentally. I have to go in and fix who's paired against who. So your event, while you're ready to flip, isn't necessarily as important as the event that I'm working on right now. A tip here: don't let problems you can't control stress you out. talk to your head judge if there's a backup at the scorekeeper stage. There are the cases where multiple things go wrong at the same time, and sure, we might not be able to get everything through, one scorekeeper can't do everything at once, so we have to make sure we get everything done in a correct order, whereas the event does not go long. So making sure that everybody is happy in an appropriate amount of time. Things to note, scorekeepers, for judges, do not stand behind your scorekeepers waiting for stuff. It bugs the crap out of us. It's like that monkey on your back that doesn't go away. It stresses us out. Okay. Extra bad if there's more than one person behind, because that's just extra pressure.
Is it the waiting or the behind?
It's a lot of us behind. We can wait in front, that's fine. But in a lot of cases, we're on a stage, and that's more people on the stage that don't need to be. Or in some cases, the Gen Con back behind everything. There's no reason for all the judges to be surrounding the scorekeepers. Give them room to breathe. We need that room to breathe. Stage is often crowded. If there is you can set up a system of communication that helps you stay on the floor unless you're needed, like walkie-talkies, messages, Slack. So if you happen to give me your Facebook Messenger info and say, okay, I have to step away for this while you're fixing this, let me know when my event is ready to flip, and I'll come back up. Those type of things are for the most part, a lot of side event scorekeepers, myself included in this, are willing to do. So if you need to step away while we're flipping your event, or we're triaging something else first, and you need to come back to it, give us a way to get hold of you so we can get you back. Moving on for the scorekeeper side, the scorekeeping sides, you're often focused on up to 4 events. You may be tempted to think that the world will end if things don't start exactly on time. A run needs repaired or gave you the red X of death. That one was something newer to me. Effectively, it's worse trying to do something to an event, and you try to jump to another event, and it crashes work. At which point you have to restart and open every event you had up and make sure nothing went wrong, which can be a problem. So this is the bigger part again, for those that want to scorekeep. Think about which events are the most emergent now, and fix those events first. One of the tips that she has here is don't let problems you can't control stress you out. Same type of thing. Talk to the stage lead and the event head judges about delays. Get help from other scorekeepers if you have a tricky problem. A lot of cases, like on the floor when you're working with another judge, scorekeepers need to work together with other scorekeepers in case they have, if they want to reflect on something, they have a bug that they had never experienced before. This happened to me at GP Providence. I was working a team constructed event. A team dropped before I put their match result in. So I went in and like, okay, I say I have a drop here, I'll go ahead and click them. I dropped them earlier on through the player drop. But they put in their match results, and they were the drop. Okay, we get a match result. Well, I mean, pair the next round. I got through the next round of pairings, at which point it says there's outstanding match. There's no matches outstanding. I'm seeing a blank screen. Had to go all the way back, delete that round, undrop that team, drop them in the match itself. That's a word bug I had no idea about. So there are different things about that. Keep in mind, there are problems. Just like judging, scorekeepers talk together and fix things. So things that note for scorekeepers, judges may be worried that they will be judged for things happening that are out of their control. Don't get upset with them for bugging you. Again, as I said, scorekeepers, again, we want to make sure that things are handled. If we trust me, we know what's going on with your events. We won't make you feel, I personally will not try to make you feel like you're bugging me. I will let you know, hey, yes, we're working on it. Just hang out. No scorekeeper is an island, which I actually have that. Like I was starting to get, when I was at Houston, I actually encountered this problem a little bit. I ended up, again, that was 9 events. Had I actually been paying a little more attention and not isolated myself in my little environment, I would have sent some of those events to other scorekeepers right away, rather than sitting on 9. wasn't until I went on lunch break that I realized how many events I had. So 5 or 6 is probably the line where you want to stop. Just like judging, don't skip your break. You'll be tempted to eat lunch at your computer because no one else can do what you are doing. That is false. There are other scorekeepers there that can do your job. There's a lot of stage staff that can do your job. Take your break. So, don't have much more questions that were from a survey she sent out. First question was, what can judges do to make scorekeepers' lives easier? Understand our process. Don't hover.
Give them coffee.
Write neat penalties, details, all that. Write that down neatly on the back so we can read your handwriting. A lot of judges I know have sloppy handwriting, so please make sure your handwriting is neat when you fill out penalties. With full card names, because a lot of scorekeepers don't necessarily play the game. Please make sure you include those card names if they are like Goif. There's a couple of Goif type cards out there. Exactly. Make sure you put the full card name just in case the scorekeeper doesn't know it. Or doesn't know the interaction you're talking about, so they give the penalty incorrectly. Don't lose paperwork. 8-man brackets, match slips, etc. are important. Match slips are sat on it for GPs, what have you, for at least 3 months, if not longer after the GP. So we need those match slips to make sure results are there. And any late results forces us, any match slips that are missing, forces us to call the player up to the stage, which we'd rather not do after they've already turned in a match slip. Unless they physically have it in their bag. If you get handed slips, please bring your slips up. Don't leave them behind. Be extra present when the last few slips are out. Watch your matches that have those last slips so you can get them into us and so we can flip the round timely. Scorekeepers work pretty much quickly as far as they can as far as data entry. So as soon as you get those slips to us, especially if it's the end of the round, we'll get them in. Just don't sit on the slips. If you happen to have 3 matches out, we can confirm you have 3 matches out. You can probably get to your matches and be ready for them. Don't intimidate, obviously, but make sure the players see you waiting for them. So if you're again at a match, make sure the players know that you are there waiting on their match slip. Make sure they know you're the last, like they're the last table, just so that they won't sit there and talk for 5 minutes on, do you want to concede? Do you want to concede? Just to fix all of that problems. Answer questions and help them to keep moving. More the players keep moving, more judges keep moving, scorekeepers keep moving, the event keeps moving.
Concession thing isn't as bad as, oh, if you had done this in 5 turns ago, you would have been able to, oh yeah, wait, let's go do this gameplay thing, and they still just slip and they haven't signed it.
Yep.
Oh,
Second question we got was, are there any things judges do while trying to be nice but actually upset scorekeepers? I.e. checking in too often, waiting behind players in line, etc.
Cutting slips off.
The slips wrong tends to be more a matter of packing things up and holding onto them later. Because a lot of the slips are banded by round, banding gets really poor when the slips are all different sizes, nothing stays together. That's one small piece, but checking in often is sometimes hovering. So check in when you need to check in, otherwise let the scorekeepers do their job. They know what they're doing, they can handle it. Also, don't take papers from the printer without permission. The papers that are on the printer might not be for you, even if you just handed in the last slip in. It may be something that they were finishing up as they were putting in your results, like signposts for, hey, we're changing the draft payout, or we need to put these up on the prize, and then we're adding a new event, these have to go up on the event board. Make sure you don't take things that the scorekeeper has not cleared you to take, because they will know which paperwork is for you and which paperwork is for something else or another event that's also waiting down by you. However, Kristen thinks, and I agree, waiting with players who need something is good customer service, and line wrangling is super helpful. So if there happens to be a mash of players all at once needing something from the scorekeeper, get them in a line, straighten things up while you're waiting for your event. So the players are probably trying to drop from an event, potentially yours. So make sure that they have that opportunity to before we try to flip your event. Players come before the judges. We make sure they're taken care of. Next one, how do I get into scorekeeping? This is a lot of the same way that I got into it actually. FNMs and store level events are a good way to learn more. So take your time, learn more, run your FNMs, learn how the different features are, learn about the local player database and how to input players, learn hotkeys. Essentially, a lot of it's the data entry aspect of it. And then if something breaks, see if anything you can do can fix it without having to get anybody else in, while making sure you back up the event before you try to fix it.
Pastimes in the recent Masters series you're doing this year has a dedicated scorekeeper position that most local store events don't have.
Yep.
So if you wanted to apply to that, if you live close enough that you feel you can go to Pastimes, that might be a way of practicing scorekeeping at a decent sized event that's not at the GP to get that sort
I'd
of level
recommend
up.
starting with the regular master point ones first.
You know,
working your
like
way up
if
to
you
the
know how to like
2.5.
do like a PPD2 at your local
Yeah.
store that's like 25 people, but you want to get up to like that 60 or 70 person event, that might be a good way to jump up without having to do like a full get on for side events of the GP kind of thing.
Yep. Ask, like part of this, I ask if you can learn from the scorekeeper at the store level event. So if you happen to have, like your store runs it, ask if they happen to have, like one of their employees ask to help or learn the software. Reach out to scorekeepers in your area. Hi. Kristen, myself, any of us can answer any questions you might have. There's Jordan Baker's up further north. Marco Sanchez knows his way around word as well. Sam's got some experience. He's done quite a few of these as well. So if you have any questions, please reach out to us. We're here, we're a resource. To get staffed as a scorekeeper at a big event, start by applying for other stage positions like help desk or registration. Learn what goes on the stage so you have an idea of what might be interacting with you over the course of the day. In Houston, I actually learned quite a bit about registration, even though I was scorekeeping, just by being next to it. So that, in a lot of cases, that comes into play. Know what the other opportunities are, especially the ones that interact with you. That's a good way to learn how things on stage work. Then when you've put together both the whir and the stage pieces together, apply for a side event scorekeeper position. Also, you can download whir for free, by the way, and run it on offline mode to practice. I know what John Temple does is he messes with whir on a regular basis offline and tries to break it. And then once he breaks it, he tries to fix it. So feel free to take advantage of that. There's also a question about getting Walter for practice. According to Callie Anderson, Walter is not made available to anyone but main event scorekeepers.
Is there anybody get like, I think I asked that question, is there anybody get like screen caps or something? Because knowing, I haven't used Word at like an FNM, I understand why you have to write penalties in a certain order because I know how things are written on the penalty thing, so I know as a judge, like that's the order that it makes sense. Like even like releasing screen caps of what the screens of Walter looks like would be helpful to main event GP judges just for an ability to know what the thing looks like, because you can't go on stage, as you said, and sit behind the scorekeeper at a main event, but if it's only available to main event scorekeepers, how are judges ever supposed to know anything about it?
Yeah. For those, I recommend talking to somebody that has software. Any of the GP scorekeepers.
I could have a Jordan or something about it.
Talk to Jordan. He's got a copy on his computer. Callie does a copy of her computer. I know John Temple has one. He's also towards that level. He also worked past times enough where he was able to get a copy. And he's been trying to break that as well. But yeah, to basically be a main event scorekeeper, you have to work your way up to it. Maybe in 4 years, 3-4 years, I'll get to that level, but we'll see.
I don't use Walter. I just want to know what it looks like so I can
I've used
judge
Walter.
that for reference.
Hotkeys are easier. It's just usually a 4, 5, or 6 for the defaults. And then, like no show, you literally click an end button and it automatically fills out the penalty and drops the player. So there's a lot of things that make it easier to run. So the running event's easier. Player input is bad. Actually, interface to enroll players is not very good.
If you did something as intuitive as Kafka, because Kafka's amazing.
So part of this tangent here. Kafka is all done in worse sides. So the scorekeepers there,
Not
they
worse,
make
it's
the
way
bracket.
better.
They make the bracket in worse. Export the bracket and import it into Kafka. And then once the event is over in Kafka, it gets the info from that gets disseminated and put into worse to upload it. So it's all done after the event. None of it's done at the event.
It's just a great program.
It is. I like Kafka a lot. Thank you, Chokito. And that's all that we have on here. Any additional questions that I may be able to answer? Yes.
So this is just a small one, but on Judge Apps you can fill out that you are a judge, a scorekeeper, or a tournament organizer.
Yep.
On your profile. At what level should you put that you're a scorekeeper? Like, if you do it for your F&M, are you a scorekeeper? If you feel comfortable doing it competitive, are you a scorekeeper?
I'd recommend that if you feel you are competent and comfortable enough to say you could probably run 30-player events solo and make sure it handles well,
Okay.
I'd say you're probably good enough to just consider yourself an actual event scorekeeper.
I could run a 60-player event on Whir and, you know, be fine, but I 100% do not consider myself a scorekeeper or refuse to use hotkeys. I'm the slowest scorekeeper ever.
That's
Like,
also
I
part of the
double check
other
everything and I'm just like, I am competent enough to know how to do it. You don't want me doing it. Like, if it's part of the judge job, I'll do it, but no.
Part of if you want to be labeled a scorekeeper and you're good, you label yourself as a scorekeeper. Just like TOs, like I label myself as a TO because I schedule events for my LGS and I do a lot of that planning, and I'm perfectly okay with that.
But TO is also like an official term, like you're like actually officially
You're associated with the store.
Yeah, through official.
I am officially through
WPA.
my store as well.
Yeah.
That is the TO. This your owner or TO wants you to run their events for them. At which point they make you a TO. There's different ways to go about that. Some people just say, hey, I only schedule the events and I do everything else. I would wrap that. I wouldn't necessarily call them a TO. If they're just they're going hopping in Word and scheduling an event. At that point, they're closer to the scorekeeper side of interacting with Word than interacting with the store.
Yep.
Any other questions? Yes.
I know you were mentioning running Word in offline.
Yep.
Can you run like full mock tournaments through that?
Yep.
Okay. So I haven't really messed with it too much.
Yeah, you can you can just if you happen to have like I don't know a list of random DCI numbers, a local player database, or let's say judges you know, you can get their information pretty easily and create your own
It
database.
still looks up the DCI though to.
If you have the DCI numbers, you should be able to just put them in. If it might just say can't find, just put the name in.
Yeah, because that's what I was wondering.
It knows what
If
numbers
I can
are
just
valid
like
versus not.
John A through John Z in my tournament and run
As
it
long as
so
they're
I can
what
just-
would have been valid DCI numbers, you should be fine. Speaking of,
So you do need a DCI number on it though, even
Yeah,
offline.
even in offline mode, you'd have to put in some numbers.
as long as you
This
have
is
like
player
again, you've got
one.
like
Sounds like fake.
you've got like
Tom
10 or
Dell.
12 of your best buddies that trust you with your
Genetic
with the DCI
demo.
number to not fraud them. Then they're also running in offline. You'd be logged out,
Right.
so you wouldn't even be logged into the servers. So you could upload the event even if you wanted to.
Sure.
I'll actually go to offline mode.
Tim,
And you can launch it in offline mode. Hey, we're offline. In this case, only when you're offline mode, these are the events to schedule. You only have a basic, casual Magic the Gathering tournament.
Sure.
You have none of the, again, you have everything under the sun if you want to mess with it. League play, Emperor.
Don't see
You have
that
single
for
limb,
very
double
often.
limb, bracketed single, bracketed double.
Yeah, I wish.
I don't know.
I
Is
wish.
Melee on that list?
No,
If everyone
Great
on
Melee
that
is
list.
fun though.
Great Melee is fun.
that's just casual, limited. At that point, it's most of these are player only
Judge
events.
count on it?
You could do it if you happen to do it correctly. You could do a casual format with with 1 point. It's doable.
Yes. Local players. This just
Yeah.
happens to be the local player list for the main store that I've been listed as a TOS.
So as long as you have players, you can just enroll them.
Yep.
So in this case, we actually
Select all, enroll. Is that an option in Word, select all? You just select all of the local
yes, select all.
I
Select
don't
some.
know when that
players.
big
The
could
person who's ever
actually be
played
used,
at
but
this store is now in this store.
100.
If you have a small local player database
There we
or
go.
no local player database,
How do you
for
get
CFB they reset the local player database for every event. Their computers are always fresh ones.
I think it would just be funny if you had an event that every player who's ever played.
That way they have a local player database for that event. They know who played in that event.
Because that way,
That way they can determine uniques.
that way if their event crashes in the middle of it, they can just re-import select all.
that would make sense.
So I expect each event I should mention each weekend. Each GP had its own local player database that weekend.
Yeah.
Can you clear people out of it?
There are ways to reset your database,
Not
yes.
reset it. Like
You know, you can
individual people.
You can delete individual people.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
actually done it at
I know you
a
can change
at a
names if you get the
PPTQ.
unknown error, but I didn't know if you could.
There's a button in here. And then
Yeah, I've done it at a PPTQ.
Because I know we have
I don't
some
remember
things where we
what
have
it came
like
down
certain
to.
players that have like 4 different DCI numbers.
Yeah.
Every time it's like, okay, which one was it again?
Yeah, you can
So
delete.
if you just delete the superfluous ones, it might be easier to.
There is a way to do it. I've accidentally done it and had to go back through and re-add.
On your
They're like,
local
oh, I
player
know it's playing
screen,
locally.
So on
yeah,
the local
play.
player
Okay,
screen, if you
fine.
click on a player
we'll go click on myself.
and you click remove, it
Yeah.
removes them from the local player database.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And
Permanent
then-
deletion from the database.
and then I'll
But it
just
doesn't
add
like
back
affect their
in.
DCI number or anything.
No.
It just takes them
It
off.
takes
of your
It just takes them out of your
your
database.
Basically, you never have to see all their extra DCI numbers again. Just the one they prefer.
Yeah. Anything else?
Yes, small thing. So if you were looking to like set, and maybe this isn't in scorekeeping, but more tournament organizing, but like if you wanted to set up a thing with your friends at a store, like are you able to do that, or is the tournament organizer have to do that?
If you are listed, like you want to play like an 8-player,
Let's say I have 7 friends and I want to do a draft, but I want to get points for it.
you get 1 point.
Okay.
This is a casual event. Casual events can launch from anywhere between at least 2 players.
Well, why is it a casual event? If they're doing a draft, if they're all using the same product, it's not
8
like
players
a
is the minimum to
draft.
sanction.
You can use it him and 7 friends.
Him and 7?
Yeah, him and 7 friends.
Your store can just go into sanction and you're rolling. The
Yeah,
sanction is a 1x
any
multiplier,
store would
regular
refuse to
event.
do that, but-
You can't draft here. You're gonna take too long.
As long as it is like the set that is one of the sets that are currently legal. If you happen to go to chaos, that puts it to a 1 point.
So we at one point had people who wanted to practice for a team GP, and so they had this like 4-team thing where they were just, them and their friends were doing it, and just, I was like, I'm gonna do it in Word, I'll do it casually, like, why don't I just do this like officially, like, there's no reason that they're doing anything that isn't official.
Yep.
We needed to grind points for a GP at one point to get buys. So we got 8 buddies together. We got 6 buddies together, and we just sat around in the store and practiced standard all day, and just made 8-player single them tournaments all day long.
Yep.
Ground that out a whole bunch of points that weekend.
Is there any reason why the store would say no to something like that? I mean, you're sitting there buying their snacks and doing
Yep.
their, like,
Stores shouldn't have an issue with that. If they do,
Probably
they're
buying
turning away
something.
business. Especially if you, put in $5
the only
for.
reason I could see someone
price.
having a problem would be if the tables were already pre-needed for some other event.
Yeah.
But that seems like.
Sure, but